happened? Oh, it moved my camera. Well, hello anyone who's here. Forgive me as I move my camera on stream. Like, what happened? It moved it all. Hi, Dimitri. How are you? Doing a really okay job at being set up on time, which is to say I'm actually doing a terrible job because I'm not set up on time. But you know what? We're all just doing our best. How's your day, Dimitri? How's your morning, I suppose? I don't know. What time zone are you in? Do I know this? Oh yeah, you're going to the run fair. I love that. Oh, it's 11 a.m. Okay, you're in like Central Time Zone. You're just an hour ahead. That's good. Good morning, B&W. I like how BNW is making me say BMW. Why are you doing this to me? You trying to make me plug a car right now? You trying to make me plug a car? Oh, let me fix that. Done and done. I love how easy it is to fix streaming setups. It feels. My day today looks like advertising the heck out of this project. And gosh, I don't know. I need to do a Hot Housewives update today. And I also need to do an update for the Misery Tarot this week. I didn't do one, and I feel so terrible about it. I didn't do it on Monday, and then it was Tuesday, and I was like, well, I can't post Misery Monday on a Tuesday. So I just didn't update it at all, which is maybe a bold choice. But you know what? What does my day look like? I've got this grid here that is a past, present, future guy. So maybe I've got answers. Uh, core within stop. I have to stop something. It's fated that in the future, new things will unfold. There'll be new opportunities. In the past, there was a longing to be touched, to touch. And in the present, we have excess and brick. To lay the foundations for the future, I have to be strong willed. And I need to be prepared to do all the work it takes to make this strong foundation. In the future here, kind of what's happening right now, there's a lot of self-reflection and store. There's a lot of things I need to gather. Super excited for the Hot Housewives. Well, thanks. The Hot Housewives are super excited for you, which sounds wild. Michelle, the link is not working for me on BackerKit. What link? What do you mean? The link that goes to BackerKit is not working? Or what do you mean, Michelle? What does this mean? You couldn't get the one on BackerKit to work. Oh! Oh, 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 oh. Yep. I do need to actually That's a great point, y'all. If I don't actually link the stream into the back end, it can't do anything. My bad. Fixed. Ah. One of these days I will get this right. But apparently it was not today. I'll always make one mistake. Okay, the video is now showing on the site. Thank you for letting me know. I was like, "What? What in the world do you mean?" And it was like, "Well, you're not on your project page, silly." And I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense. My bad." Well, anywho, hi everyone. I just did a reading for myself, and it told me to basically be patient and do some self-reflecting and planning, and new opportunities still await. New things can still unfold, which is a delightful thing to hear, right? The world is kind of in a weird and rough place for small businesses like me. Uh, it's difficult to make things function. Yeah, I'm really excited about the Keykeeper set myself. I really, really love these dice. And the one thing that maybe I will mock up for uh, future readings yet is the grids that are part of the Keykeeper set so that I can do some readings on them. Because I don't I don't have it here to actually read on. Turns out making an 18 by 18 thing is actually a little complex. But maybe I'll just get some easy custom prints of it and just roll on paper. Feels a little boring to do it on paper maybe, but that's okay. We can just make it work. So let's see. Let's see the keys on the past, present, future. Yeah, of course, Dimitri. Have fun with your trip. Enjoy the Ren Fair. It sounds so delightful today. It's been so nice out. Ooh, I have a lost eye. In the core, I have the rising sun and the deep night. Ooh, rising sun. There's a lot of maintenance to be done, but in the deep night, it's telling me that the maintenance needs to be done. Is that kind of the core of everything I'm doing? There's a lot of maintenance to do alone. I think that's an interesting one. We have a lot of stuff in future. We have yearning, we have divine connection, and we have the ore. There is sort of an inevitability that I'm going to have to put in a great deal of work to reach some kind of connection to the outside world, maybe. Um, and this is directly connected to the yearning. The things that I want will be fulfilled um, through a connection with others, but that will require a great deal of work on my part. In the present, I see the spider from Fell. There's weaving of dreams and storytelling here. I have a lot of stories to tell, perhaps. And in the foundation, the beyond, this was lost off the dice set, or from the reading. I have Rowan. There's important foundations of defense and protection I have to create. That's kind of fitting to the other one I just did. So, enough of me. Would anyone like a reading on the past, present, future, which I read on so rarely because I love my seasons grid so much. I'm so seasons pilled. Uh, Maybe it'll be a great thing when I move on to the new grid to actually like try out some of this new stuff. I want to know if she'll continue to be my friend. Oh, Michelle, let's take a look. Uh, we're doing seasons set of dice because it's seasons grid. We're dealing with a relationship. We're dealing with wounds. We're dealing with attentions, maybe community and influence. Let's try this out. Michelle, I am seeing three things in a row here that's like really big. There's the sun, there is like this puppetry going on, and there's a neon sign. All together in the core, I am reading that there is or was joy perhaps, but it came from a place of manipulation, maybe. There was definitely some deceit involved. What was going on with your relationship with your friend definitely appears to have been some wrongdoing on someone's part. The neon sign's also telling me that it's something that's become very, very obvious now. It's no longer hidden when before it maybe had been. Um, in the past, I have nothing. We have a scar here that's verging on the past and crossed over to the present. I also have reflection here. It's telling me that at the moment your friend is reflecting on past wrongs that your friend feels has been done to her. Um, Maybe by you. She may feel like in the past there were some things that you did that really manipulated her in a way that she feels is really harmful. Um, as a result, she's looking at new opportunities in her life. She may be seeking other friendships at the moment, thinking that it would be something different. Over here in future, I see isolation and scavenging. There's kind of two parts to that. If it's referring to you, which I kind of assume it has to because we're in the within ring still, I'm seeing that you may just have to go without her for some time, or in any ways that you do interact with her, it's very scavenging focused. You have to kind of pick the good parts that make you happy to spend time with her, and it might be few and far between. However, our faded part of the reading here, this barrel with the storage and the cup, is telling me that you will gain over time emotional connection. You will reconnect in some way, and it will be enough that sustains you in the future. It's kind of a fated thing to happen. But at the moment, things are a little rough. I would suggest trying to understand what's going on. Try to understand if there was something that you did wrong to her that you might need to apologize for or recognize. But it does look like whatever's going on with your friend at the moment um, may be something that you have to work through and kind of find others' sustenance in friendship with others, perhaps for a while until things come back around. Curse. I love that you would like a reading. What is your question, though? Let me know, and I'll come back to you. Hey, Sasha, I would like a career reading. Okie dokie. Let's think about careers. Let's think about making stuff for our lives to make things good. All right, Sasha, let's see what we have. In the core, I'm seeing order and like jackpot. Something here is likely to go pretty positively, but only if you keep things in order. It's kind of my understanding so far, but we'll see how it goes through the rest. In the past, I'm seeing that you were doing a lot of labor to like write and prepare yourself, prepare your cure. I don't know. I'm not sure what this is yet. Perhaps it's your resume, your CV. You were building up your qualifications. Um, I see the sword here. It is pointing at that, and it's sort of wielded here by the compass. That is the direction I'm seeing. It's telling me that a lot of your focus and attentions have been deeply tied to building a history of knowledge and skills so that your career can move forward. I think that's generally a great thing. In the present, I'm seeing home and other. Uh, Home is on the edge, it's here without. So it's telling me that um, external to you, a space for home or friendship is waiting. But it's outside of you, which is telling me that your home right now is not your actual house. As far as a career goes to that, it's meaning that maybe you do not have access at the moment to what you need to be at home in your career, or you're not finding your end career in a way. Um, and that's just a good sign that where you're at is not where necessarily you need to end up. Other in the present is telling me that what you're doing now feels like you're being lorded over, and that does not sound like what you're doing now is necessarily quite working. So yeah, there's definitely a better place yet in the future. Um, Over here in the future, internally, I'm seeing water. It's telling me that you're being very open to your new opportunities. It's telling me that you're going to be able to really jump on new things. You're very, very ready to try new things. It's really, you're an immigrant in a new country and can't get a job. Telling me that you're an immigrant when I just told you that home seems away from you for some reason is like, okay. Sometimes the dice are just a little too spot on with information I don't know. That makes it really confusing. But I'm glad that the dice are right? Question mark. That explains a lot. Okay. You're definitely set to kind of fill in anything that you can. But I'm also seeing the future of the sun right here, and the sun is telling me like there is joy and fulfillment coming, which tells me like you do land a job that takes care of your needs. I'm not sure if it's the home job that I was talking about, the one that's like the good long term career, but yeah, how strange and interesting. Um, we have the diamond over here in faded and ruin off in the distance on the edge of without. Ruin is not necessarily terrible things happen, but it is things change in a massive way. So I would say the best thing to be prepared for is stay ready for opportunities, even if they're not quite what you would expect, because it looks like you're gonna find like fulfillment in doing something that is coming in the near future. But it doesn't look like it's necessarily your like home career, the job you want to have for years to come. But it is going to be something that's going to take care of you and make you happy for now. And that's a pretty helpful and important thing. I do see diamonds here, which is telling me that you do reach a point where you're financially stable, and you can, for example, spend money on, luxury fun things. But there's also a huge shift that will happen. So whatever jobs you end up in the near future, job more likely, just be prepared that that could change. That could go away. You'll have to find another one. But no matter what happens there, you still reach a point where you're financially stable. So I would be, confident that things are coming, even though they might not be there forever. The things that follow will also help take care of you. You will have stability. So that's at least good to know. Laura Norman, you are next. You would like a relationship reading. I believe I can do that. I'm grabbing too many dice. Alyssa Brickman, I would love to know if I should move overseas this year and what I should look for. P.S. Cannot wait for the dice. My Alleyman deck is the envy of everyone I show it to. Also, I saw you still sell the deck, so I'll have that to share too. Thank you. That's so kind. Okay. Oh, Sasha, thank you. I'm sorry that it's not just like you get $1 million and you get your dream job, but financial stability and joy is the most a lot of us can ask for at this moment. So I hope that that's at least a good and a good patient thing to know. Laura, I'm doing your general relationship reading because I already grabbed the dice. Curse, thank you for getting your question in. I will get you next. And then Alyssa. All right. Laura. In the core, I see the sword and shield. This face has come up more than anything else on this die every time I read with it lately. And it's great because it keeps reminding people that you have the tools, you have what you need to handle the situation, even if the situation is difficult. Knowing that no matter what's happening in the world, we still have access to what we need to survive it is really wonderful. For a relationship, you hopefully don't need to survive it, but it does tell you that you're properly equipped to handle the relationship right now, and that you're ready. Over here, I am seeing something that's really interesting. I'm seeing a longing for like solitude. This is a core and within die here. So while you are asking about a relationship, I'm also seeing the sense that you've kind of completed journeys that are tight to your person lately that kind of make you want to spend time alone. I do have a triangle here, so I'm gonna talk about all three of these. This is the die that's telling me that you've been on some kind of journey that you've come to a culmination or a realization of, and that's why you want this isolation. This is Mercury, which is telling me that you have been very ready to adjust to anyone else's needs, um, and that has helped you realize this journey. And at the same time, it's all part of why you've wanted to try to spend some time alone. Because this is in the past, I'm assuming that this is stuff that has just happened. You have maybe completed this journey on being alone and learning about yourself and growing. A lot of stuff here is in the past. So we also have judgment. You have made some intense judgments about this situation. Um, that maybe is why you're at the point where you're actually asking about a relationship, which is really good. Generally speaking, I'm saying that like everything here is saying you've done the work to set up this, to have the tools ready for this. I do see the jester hat and the spotlight. It suggests that maybe in the past you had an experience where you really felt put on the spot by a relationship or a potential relationship, and you went in too naively, and that is probably what led to all of this, where you did a lot of, I assume, some soul searching to understand what wasn't happening right. I do see the rubber ball here at the edge of past here, just about to head into present, which is telling me that you maybe in the past were just looking for good, simple fun, and that was why you were being a little naive and looking for a relationship to find something that would be a little more lasting. Now, in the present, this is where Mercury actually is. So I would say that you are still being a little bit ready to shift and change into whatever you need to for a relationship, but the rest of the present is empty. This is telling me that maybe in the waiting for situations to arrive or a potential relationship to form for you, you're being a little amorphous. I don't think that's bad, but I do think that if you find someone in the near future here, it's probably better for you to approach as yourself and not try to fill in for what the other person might want. Because there's nothing else here, so it's suggesting that maybe you're definitely looking and reaching a little too far and being like, I can do anything, I can be whatever anyone would need. It's like, maybe that's not what you need at the moment. And I think this is kind of compounded by sorrow being here in the future, just after the present. It's telling me that that approach will probably put you into a situation where not being true to yourself kind of leaves you in a relationship that doesn't quite work out. So I would say you already have done a lot of soul searching to like figure yourself out and prepare your life to be ready for another person like that. Maybe it's time to set this aside. If there is another person already present, This is a really good point, that there is no without in the present. There's nothing on the edge here that's telling me that someone else is putting in proper or good work. And that's why I see sorrow in the immediate future. So, um, and that doesn't, sorrow doesn't mean relationship ends or you get a relationship and it's terrible. It just means like you will feel like things aren't quite working super great for you in that situation. I do see fire here at the end of the immediate future, which tells me that you do learn to focus your energy and your passion. Um, but I do see faded here, and this one's a little bit concerning. Uh, this is like the puppetry face of the influences die. I think that you're ready and you've like worked on yourself. I think that maybe just some of the people that you might be running into in the near future here are just not the right fits. And that's suggesting to me that like you are ready, you have the passion, you have the drive, but maybe this just isn't the moment, because the only things I'm seeing from outside anywhere near without are sorrow and this puppetry, which would suggest that someone would try to like manipulate you in some way, and that's just not great. So I would say that instead of, as advice from the reading, instead of doing the whole Mercury thing, really lean on the fact that you have the tools ready. Be ready to set your boundaries. Be ready to say no when a relationship or a date starts to look like it's just not right for you. It might take a little longer than you were hoping for to find someone that fits correctly, but there still exists billions of people on Earth, and there are still people ready, right? So, yeah, it's not brutal honesty. It's just like one of those things where, like, you know, like I'm dating right now too, and I have just constantly been finding like that no one that I'm running into is the right fit for me at the moment, and that's okay, because like you've done the work to realize yourself as like a person, a whole person on your own. So when you recognize that, you don't need to have a relationship, number one, at any point in your life, really. But it doesn't mean that it can't happen. It just might not be a right now thing. It might just take a little longer. So be patient. Do not settle for less. It's definitely my main thing. And look out for the red flags. Apparently, someone in here is going to be crappy and kind of manipulative. So don't let them in your life. All right. Curse T13. You would like a path reading. Let's see. We want some fates and obstacles. We want some movement. We want relations. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, that's just one of those things where, like, my experience lately is that I've actually just really been valuing my friendships a lot more than my romantic, like, liaisons. I'm kind of seeing someone right now, but it is still fairly casual. He's open, he has a husband, he's very sweet. But we see each other like once a week, and it's very nice and like friendly, and it's not quite love, and that's okay. And that's just one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately, where different people fulfill different needs for your life at different times. So sometimes when people are looking for romantic friendships, romantic relationships, um, what they are really looking for is companionship. And companionship can come in so many forms. And that's just one of those things where you think about like, what does another person mean to me and how do they fulfill parts of my life? Sometimes I kind of come to the realization I'm not sure I need like a long-term partner. Um, could still be fun. All right. Curse. We were looking for a path reading. Well, this is a past, present, future grid, so we are looking at kind of a path no matter what. So I hope that this is of help. um, there's a lot happening in the core. I'm seeing rejection. I'm seeing a direct line of being forced to be seen in a way that you didn't want to be seen. That stopped maybe relationship and connection, and that led to time being a problem. Curse tie. Ah, I was not ready for the lead speak. Or is it cursedy, like cutie, but a curse? I have such questions. Okay, but I'm seeing just so much happening right here. Maybe if we go past, present, future, faded, and kind of come back into the middle, we'll get some more understanding. So we come from the egg in the past. Outside there's loss. So you were I mean whole Fugi. I almost want to call you Kirsty. But that does just sound like Kirsty, like Kirsten Dunst. So yeah, okay, cursed high it is. There was a point where you felt either quite small or very vulnerable, and in that same point is when the loss kind of happened. It was a foundational part of your life. It's something that has a lot of weight here, which is why I'm seeing as part of the path here, like some difficulty with connection with people, maybe. Um, the present, there is a seed. There is space here for new connection, new opportunities, but it's very much on its own, which tells me like there aren't usually a lot of those that come around in your life. And for that reason, it's probably very, very worthwhile looking at. I will say though, because it is on its own here, it is a huge focus for you. New opportunities, new relationships, new ideas, whatever it is, maybe don't come around that often. So when they do, they become very, very big focuses for you. Um, because it's just here at the start of the present area, I'm also going to read it as something that has either just happened or is happening right now. And it kind of controls what happens into the future. And in the future, we only have one die as well, and it is Memento. Something here is probably actually very good in healing. Memento is very much like the Memento Mori. It's like the cameo. It's the history of your past. And I would say that this is probably very positive for you as someone who's dealt with some form of loss as a foundational part of your life. Recognizing that whatever's happening now leads to a point where you like kind of come to peace with things that have happened in the past means that your future just is a little more aware. You just got your ADHD diagnosis today. Okay. Then that makes some sense. Your present moment is like gaining this new thing and it's becoming a very large focus, clearly. It's funny because your obstacle is time, which is so real for ADHD people to be like, uh, one of my biggest obstacles is time management and understanding like what's happening in a given moment. Um, that's so given. But yeah, this is actually so good and helpful for you. Um, because in the future you learn to reinterpret so much of what happens and what has happened to you in the past through the lens that you now have, and it's going to be really just helpful in healing. There is excess and faded here, which is kind of saying like in the end what really comes from this is a sense that you maybe take on a little much. um, that's kind of an ADHD experience is stepping up to too many things at a time. But yeah, the core, we have so much happening. So there is rejection, which is on its own above here. And then we had this experience of constantly being put in the spotlight, but not feeling like you can do anything, and time being a constant obstacle. I'm also seeing fold over here on the edge of future. So I'm gonna say that there's a really important maybe thing coming up in your future. Um, I don't know, vaguely in the next month, perhaps, that is saying that you will have opportunities or actions afforded to you that you should not do. Folding is realizing that the cards that you are dealt are not correct or optimal. And part of maybe coming to terms with loss as a foundational part of your life is going to be learning that some things you give up on purpose, and that's actually helpful. The reason that is really, really good and cathartic, I would hope, is because loss over here was something completely outside of you. It was beyond. It was something you had no control over. Now you have the power to determine what things are in your hands that you can let go of on purpose, and loss becoming a tool that you are more comfortable in using yourself to let yourself go from difficult situations. I think it's just going to be really helpful. So, as far as a path here, it looks very positive, and I just see a lot of catharsis and growth coming from your new understanding of how you think and feel throughout your life. Do be a little mindful about your excess. It's easy to jump on for too many things at once. Once more and more things present themselves to you and become options. So be ready to start making use of saying no to things and setting them down when you don't need them. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right. I did Sasha, Curse, and Laura, and Michelle. So Alyssa. Alyssa, I am ready for you, my dear friend. Thank you. Thanks for asking a question. Alyssa, you'd like to know if you should move overseas this year and what you should look for. All right. Well, overseas, then we need the Mariner's die. We're definitely doing some travel. That seems important. Let's grab suits. Suits are always good. Let's grab the standard D6. I have not read with it almost even once through all these readings. We've got movement, so I'm doing that. What obstacles might await you? What actions should you take? What do the fates have in store? What do you want, maybe? Ooh, we have a lost eye. Putting it here so that you can see it. There's also one out here. I'm moving it down just so we can see it, but it was out there. Okay. In the core, I see a longing to be seen. Part of your move seems to be a desire to be seen for who you are. It's very possible that where you are now feels like it's difficult for people to see and understand you for the person you actually are. A huge shift in moving overseas, of course, and a big part of that would be maybe being more yourself in a way that you haven't necessarily been here. The past appears to not be relevant. I see nothing there, which is very telling, I think, that this is a very present moment that you're thinking about it. Presently, I see the skull on the fantasy die here, which is telling me that at the moment, this is a bigger thing than you're ready to take on. So I would be very hesitant about moving overseas in the immediate future, right? It's definitely telling me like that's just not something that you should do right at the moment. And the only other thing I have in present is the sword from the suits die, the tarot suits, basically. The sword's telling me that externally, people are projecting maybe this idea to you. You may have been suggested it by other people, hopefully other people who live abroad and not people who are here who are trying to make you move. That would be really bizarre. In the future, though, there's a lot happening there. right at the start of the future, I am seeing what is essentially like the bad luck. Um, this is maybe overcompensating. Yeah, we're doing the other side of the reading mat today. Yeah, I'm nervous about staying in the US too. I get that. Um, so the five on a die to me reads as like maybe some overcompensation or poor choice making in regards to that. I think about it like four is the four legs of a table, which is nice and sturdy. Five is when you've gone too far. You weren't willing to accept the four legs of the table, and you're just going too far for perhaps safety. Um, Here we have the train, which is on within and future, which is telling me that internally you're thinking like it's time to go. Like there are other people going. I think I should be going. Um, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but you do have to be mindful of the fact that what's right for other people may not always be right for you. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It may end up working out for you. And we do have stuff in Faded that suggests that some things work out pretty well, but there are still hurdles on your way to leave. Out here, momentum, beyond, without, these are things that are outside of you. Very simple things have become very complicated. And this is a big driving factor of what is making you want to leave. If you're living in the US, I sure understand. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of not great situations unfolding right now. So I get it. However, I am seeing just like a lot of stuff here that's saying that there's a lot of external things suggesting that you should go. There's a lot of other people are leaving. I think I need to leave too. Um, but I keep returning to the skull over here that's saying that you're not ready right now. And I'm not actually seeing anything in the future here that suggests that you changed that situation. So I would say my first bit of advice from the reading already is think about it extremely hard and plan and plan and plan. You need to have everything prepared. You need to be financially ready. You need to have a job waiting for you. You need to have a support network waiting for you. If you don't have those things, this is going to be a very momentous movement. So be careful. Be careful about just picking up and moving your life. It's not super easy to do, and it's also not very easy to undo if it's not working out. So be mindful. Now, that all said, Faded is kind of the final outcome. This is like the further future. I am seeing the jackpot. I'm seeing that there is luck and success. It looks like leaving could be something that works out. Maybe. Um, at the very least, there is luck. There, factually, there is. I can't say maybe. It just is there. Good things do occur. I'm also seeing though a problem of time. I'm seeing like maybe a concern that it's temporary, and then out here, personal transformation. It looks like in leaving, your experience being somewhere else will change you. Um, I'm not seeing anything positive or negative about it, and looking at it through the lens of what else is there, even if it is temporary, it looks like the change is good. Generally, the reading's saying yes, you should probably move, but I'm also seeing so many warnings about it. So it will be momentous, it will be large, it will be difficult, it will be extremely challenging. It might even cause a number of issues for you. But it also looks like, for one reason or another, it's temporary, but it is really, really good in the end. So, yes, hardship. I see nothing about financial stability. So, I, I urge you once more, create the financial stability before you go, because that looks like it could be an issue. So, I guess good luck in traveling away. Um, hmm. This is one of those things where, because this wasn't really where I had it here, it was out here in the inevitable area. Hmm. The limited time that you have in this travel and this move. is something that won't come for a while. So I think that you probably have some confidence to do this kind of overseas move um, without fear that it will have to be undone right away. Alrighty then. Yeah, Sasha, as an American who moved to the UK a few years ago, immigrating is super difficult, but I also wouldn't want to go back with at the moment with everything going on. Big agree. Um, but the UK is also looking like it's kind of going down a path right now. People keep being like, oh, I think I might move out of the US. I'm like, okay, where are you going to go? So many places have been moving more and more to the right. It's not like where are people intending to move? I don't know. All right. Well, that was Alyssa, and that puts us at nowhere. There's nothing left. There's no more readings. Everyone go home. Gosh, I need to go get the WD-40 and spray this chair. Give coffee. If no one else is lined up, I would love a reading. No, I don't think anyone else is lined up. Scrolling back up to look again. No, everyone is very good and patient. Yeah, Alyssa, exactly. There's so many options for where you could move to, but then anywhere you consider has like its own laundry list of things you have to be mindful of. Um, the biggest hurdle for me is that I only speak English, right? Uh, I can vaguely understand some Spanish if I'm listening, but I can't speak it for any reason. Um, and I took Japanese in high school, and I can tell you right now, I'm super not good at, yeah, at that. Yeah, yeah, busy being queer and trans in this world right now is like, I'm not sure what is a good safe place to live, and it's one of those things where if you stay in the U.S., if you're already from the U.S. anyways, and you just move somewhere that's really, really progressive, you will mostly be okay there. But it doesn't change the fact that the whole country's descending into madness, and also that, uh, yeah, the government's really trying to do their best to just ban transition wholesale. Um, Yikes. Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. I'm sure there's a lot of places I could potentially move to, and do my best there, and uh, get a visa to do some kind of job that they need people to come from out of country to do because the people living there won't do it. That's kind of always the case with every country, isn't it? Oof. But yes, sorry, give coffee. You are ready um, for a reading regarding your creative path. We would love to do that. Have I done a reading about the collective USA? I'm too depressed to do that. I don't feel good about it. I do not feel good about it. We love a creative path. Maybe it's good to just look for a place where we have allies to pull together and look out for each other as much as we can. That's where I'm at. I briefly thought about the idea of moving out of country, but I'm like, there, so many of the places people are talking about moving, I'm like, have you looked at what's happening there politically? They're actually starting to get on the exact same road. Like, is it not better for us to hunker down and try to make change with our community? It's probably the better and safer and easier, maybe cheaper option. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have me. I don't have the answers. Okay, let me give you a reading that gives you answers. All right, give coffee. Let's go. How interesting. Okay. Um, yeah, I keep waiting for a hero. I can't say those kinds of things right now, but I'm waiting for heroes. That's for sure. No, and I'm to be clear, I'm also this discussion can keep going. I have no interest in stopping it, and I'm totally cool with talking about politics. I just talked to someone about Hoofda, about how when I go on to an interview with them later in the near future, they don't want to talk about politics and political like opinions, and I'm like, okay, I say sighing, but I'm also like, man, politics are deeply affecting people all the time. They always are, and it's really easy for people to be like, "Oh, politics are people's opinions," and it's really hard to have good conversations about people's opinions because it gets so worked up so quickly. It's like, well, yeah, but politics are personal. They affect people directly. It's one thing to be like, I want to change the tax to get our roads fixed. And it's another to be like, I don't think transgender people should exist and they're evil. So, unfortunately, politics always have to be talked about when you are any kind of marginalized identity. Okay, creative path. Um, I'm so curious about this. We have the summer die with the winter die here. We have frost, but also the sun. So something is like slowing to a crawl to the point of not moving anymore, but you're still finding joy in it. I think that that's kind of a nice thing for creativity. The idea that your creativity could even slow down for a while, but you're still finding joy in what you've already made or what things you're kind of doing. Yeah, that's interesting. Things are slowing, but that's okay. I am also seeing your heart is here, kind of in faded, that's connected to this. And it's telling me that, like, you're always going to find joy in your creative path, no matter what it's doing, even if it's literally not moving. And I think that that's really good. I think that you should be proud and happy of anything that you've done or made already. And it doesn't always have to be a new thing, which is wild in capitalism. As someone who has to keep constantly making new things to make ends meet, it's easy to start thinking about creativity as something where you always have to have a new thing to show the algorithm. But the thing that we rarely get to do is really bask in the glow of the things we've already done. So I think there's something really lovely there. I am seeing the good intentions face here that is tied to present, which is telling me that um, maybe not you, maybe other people are interacting with you with the good intentions approach, um, which might mean that they're not doing you any favors for your creativity, unfortunately. Uh, in the past, I am seeing a need to be held, which is telling me that you really were in a space before where you needed people to witness your creative work in some way and like support it and baby it so that you felt like it was worth doing. But I'm not seeing that in the future or the present, which is suggesting to me that maybe you are reaching a point now that your creative work is enough on its own. You don't necessarily need it to be um, babied and held in those kinds of worrying ways where you need people to talk you up. And I think that if it's not already the case, it should be the case. The things that you're doing are worthwhile because you're doing it, and it's clearly making you happy to do it. So keep doing it. Over here, I have disrepair in your foundations. Um, I will say then that in the past and leading into the present here, you have kind of let some of the elements of what brings you joy out of your creative work fall into disrepair because you weren't giving as much attention. And there's one of those moments where even if things have slowed down and you don't feel like you're making maybe as much as you used to, you should really respect the things that already exist, and you should respect your mind as an ongoing creative artistic process. Um, and in doing so, that will help with the disrepair here. Just maintenance for a creative person is not a painter needing to do little paintings in between big paintings. It can be going and seeing paintings. It can be studying a painting. It can be thinking about painting. Those are all ways that you can fight against disrepair, which is where your creative spirit begins to slow and decay. It's because you stop thinking creatively. You don't actually have to make a thing, though you can also make a thing. But even just experiencing it, seeing it, thinking about it can also keep it going. We have nothing in present otherwise. Out beyond future, heading into inevitable here is change. This is external to you. It looks like your circumstances are going to shift in a way that will affect your artistic process, but I have no other dice there that tell me what that means. So I'm going to look to Fated to kind of see what that leads to. It's inevitable that you reach a point where we have the discs here, and also we have performance over here. Um, I would say that it's kind of inevitable that the change of what the rest of the world does around you is going to lead you to making more art. Um, the way I'm reading it is that because the world changes in ways that maybe you don't even agree with, it pushes you once more to step up. And even if your creative works have slowed now, it's going to be inevitable that in reaction to what the world is becoming, um, you have to make art. It will be something you don't really have a choice in. You don't have a say in. You know you have to make it. Um, so my suggestion is maintain your creative mind in whatever ways you can for now, and then there will be things that shift that unlock your brain again to begin making things in a way that maybe you aren't for right at the moment. Oh, thanks, Alyssa. Enjoy your meeting. Hope it goes well. It was nice having you. Ooh, yeah, people are saying a lot of things. Minneapolis is a really good place, except I'm worried he has it out for walls. That executive order about protecting innocent citizens. Downplaying how important politics impacts us is kind of part of the problem. It sure is. Yeah, I can't leave, and I know many others, so will put my energy into getting all of us through this and finding something better. Yes. It's so funny. All of my friends are moving to Minneapolis, and my roommates and I are thinking about it because like it's where everyone else went, but it's so cold. I super am not that wild about the cold at the moment. I've gotten really acclimated to Colorado's level of heat during spring and summer and even fall. Um, and it just doesn't quite get as cold here as it did when I lived in Iowa, and definitely not as much when I lived in Chicago. Oh, I'm glad that it was helpful. Give coffee, and I hope that it stays that way. Oh, my stream was playing over here. That's fun. Like, I'm getting phone notifications, but because my phone is hanging above me, being a camera, I can't see what it is. So I'm like, okay, what are you notifying me about? Huh? Emails. That's what I'm getting. Emails. We like the cold. My kid and spouse both wear shorts in the snow. I'm from Iowa. Same boat, same boat. Like it would be super cold out, and I'd just like wear a pants and a t-shirt and go places. My mom would be like, "Don't you want your coat?" I'm like, "We're gonna be in the car, and then we're just gonna go inside the restaurant. Like I'll only be cold temporarily. It's not a big deal." So I get that, but I feel like I've really acclimated to what the heat can be like during really really dry summers and stuff. Sadly, we have one of the worst political environments for the open-minded. Yeah, yeah, South Dakota. Ooh, Alaska too. But Alaska is very pretty. It's got that going. Um, Goodness gravy. Oh, you know what we need? We need a U.S. reading from the Misery Tarot and the Hot Housewives dice. That just feels funny to me. Wow. No. Oh, the first thing I look at is the icon weapon in the core. The icon weapon is the stand-in for using religion or tradition as a weapon to keep other people in line. This is why I don't want to do readings about the United States. It's so painful. Yeah, wow. And then the other die in the core is the aspic, which is about following toxic tradition for the purpose of fitting in or meeting your society halfway. Um, I already see where this is going. Um, in the past, we had routine, which led to decay and progress, and shock. Yep. uh, oh no. This is so real. Way down here in the present, but without, so kind of reaching across all the present is the explosion face of the redacted die, which is focused on a lot of things being lost at once, and kind of the focus is on like some things are lost in ways that we can't get them back. It's the bomb going off after we use the first atom bomb. The future within, we have ideals. People are holding onto ideals as where they place their loyalty. What those ideals are often up for interpretation, but I think we have a decent idea. The, the future is telling me that we should focus on vacation, which is a form of play here, which is to say, like, dissociate yourself from your surroundings and your normal life to experience fun in ways that do not harken back to your roles and what you're doing. Um, and we have irrational fears. This is our triangle supporting vacation. um, yeah, the immediate future is ruled by questionable ideals and irrational fears supporting a abandonment of reality. And the fated outcome is the Weaver, telling me that we have stories coming. Um, Lots of stories to tell about the past, I think. Maybe we don't do readings with the Misery Tarot dice and the Hot Housewives Tarot dice about the state of the country anymore. Like, I already know. I already know that's what's happening. Thank you. It's like, wow, everything looks like it's gonna be bad. Hi, Lisa. uh, Welcome. Unfortunately, you arrived just in time for us to do a reading about U.S. politics because that's what we've been chatting about. Um, but let's do something else that's more fun, maybe. Yeah, we're definitely in a time where a bunch of stories are coming about. The fact that the space here was focused on like there will be history and stories to share. It's like you're not wrong. I'm tired of living through unprecedented times. Let's get some precedented ones. So Lisa, now that you're here, please, goodness gracious, we're using the past, present, future grid right now. So if you have a past, present, future question, we would love that right now. Because everyone else here has already had questions, but I'm of course happy to do readings for anyone else, um, even if you already had a reading either today or yesterday, because that's what we're here to do. We've got 50-ish more minutes. Yes, Lisa, Lisa. Um, give me a question of any kind. I'm more than happy to do it. And B and W 1024, absolutely. Hit us with a lighthearted question if you have one. No one else is on the question roster at the moment. We've covered everyone. Lisa would love to ask about what I most need to know about the flow of my creative work right now. We just did one like this, so this is delightful. Let's talk about building and movement. Let's talk about project. Let's talk about what is or isn't going. Let's talk about what actions you can take. Let's talk about metamorphosis. All right, Lisa, let's take a look. In the core, we have 3 dice. 2 of them are kind of falling out of the core, leading into other places. So let's see where they go. You have the celestial face, which I always call the star, but it is called celestial in the book. I should start using the official names. But it's basically like the Star of Tarot, or at least the way I tend to interpret the star. And you have go. Unfortunately, it is pointing kind of backwards. I'm getting the general sense that you are working towards hopes and dreams and goals, but I'm also getting the idea that the goals are not quite on the same trajectory you expected them to be. Maybe some things are like slowing in progress or moving backwards in some ways, and that is a current concern. Absolutely. So this is the summer die right here. This is the whole celestial boy who is the star. This is the go arrow from the movement die, which is pointing backwards. The movement die is from the Keykeeper set, which is the new one. So coming over here into the past, we do have the cocoon from Metamorphosis. This is on the edge of core and within, leading into past. So what we're seeing here is that you feel like recently you were in this like, cocoon stage, and the cocoon stage should lead into emerging as the monarch. But just looking around here, I'm not seeing anything that suggests that there's like a big burst or huge change. Um, so in the present, you might be feeling a little bit like, when do I get to emerge? And because it's part of the core as well, I think that it really ties here. At the moment, you feel like, aren't I supposed to be emerging? And it hasn't happened. Over here, we have the winter die. I'm pointing. I'm doing a good job. And the winter die here is, this face is cameo or memento. Its focus is very memento mori. It's the reminder that things for you should be looking at the past, but also at things that have come and gone in your life. And it's a little bit about coming to terms with death, but more than anything, it's about coming to terms with like things coming and going in life, and accepting that there is an inevitability of things to end. These things together are telling me you probably had a lot of recent anxiety about, if things aren't moving forward, are things coming to an end? We also have wheat here, and I want to show off the cheat sheet card because it's fun. This is the resources die, and wheat is the harvest of your labors. This is sustenance. It's how we break bread with others. It's how we live the years and how we grow. It is the sharing of our works, mutual aid, and growth. So regardless of what you're dealing with here and potential anxiety about things not moving forward, you're still doing and making active efforts from the past into the present here to share your work with people and share space with people, which is very funny because anyone who isn't aware, Lisa and I are literally interviewing tomorrow about the Oracle dice. So thanks, Lisa, for the wheat. Oh yeah, the cheat sheet cards are fantastic. The sets are coming with them now. They didn't in the past, but this is yeah, just a game changer. And also right here will be text that says what guidebook the die is from and what page it starts on, so that you can find it. I'm also probably going to put the page number next to the symbols for each face so that you can find that easiest. In present, otherwise, I have basically nothing else. I do have the go arrow kind of leaning towards present and wheat kind of leaning into present, but nothing's fully in present, so there's nothing else to really talk about there. In the future, though, none of your core really leaned into the future much here. We do have the disc or the pentacle, the coin, whatever you call that suit in tarot. That is here, and we also have the scales of judgment here. These two dice are separate by quite a distance here, so I'm going to go ahead and say that they're pretty unrelated. In the near future, though, having the disc here is telling me that there is some sort of foundational stability that will be found. So even though go arrow going backwards here in the near future, there's still stability. That doesn't necessarily mean that anything is growing or expanding, but there's still stability, and that's really important to know. If you feel like your creative endeavors right now are in the air, maybe they're going to go away, it is going to at least be sturdy. It's going to be okay, even if it's not go up. Number no go up. Over here with the scales, this is the actions die. And in person, I can see it just fine, but yeah, on the camera, it is a little bit like, what is happening in the details? But yeah, this one is telling you essentially that you are going to have to weigh options and make some decisions. So it looks like while things will be stable and things are going to work all right, you may have to make decisions about what things you're going to continue to pursue and what things you're going to let go of. And this is kind of where all of us are, honestly. I'm spending a lot of time thinking about, what does the future look like in a economic and political situation that is making small businesses like darn near almost untenable, right? Like it's hard to get almost anything moving. It's hard to get money coming in. On this project, I think like the money's definitely coming in a lot slower than I expected. So sometimes you have to accept that some of this is going to have to go. Some of the plans that you might have had for, oh, if it gets bigger, I'll do this. Maybe that's just not the time right now. And then over here in Faded, we have the Goblin's die. I am the Goblin. This is my die. And this is abnormality. Faded is a couple of different things. Faded is kind of like the ultimate outcome. So if you go like this is recent past, this is the present, this is the recent future, and this is like the ultimate outcome in farther away future. Abnormality is something where you really respect yourself for your strange traits and you be yourself in a really true and honest way. And in its relation to the rest of the reading, I would say that no matter what happens, you're going to result in a space with your creative work where it is honest and true to who you are. It does not change in a way to commercialize, to just make money. It doesn't change in a way where it becomes a content farm. Like you're going to stay true to yourself, and that's going to push your creative space to always be there. The question of whether or not it is like numbers go up, if we're talking about the YouTube channel in particular, is like, are subscriber numbers going to shoot through the roof one day? That's not here. But what I am seeing is that you stay and you continue. There might be some difficult decisions along the way about what to keep and what to let go of, but it keeps going. And that's really nice. Sometimes that's a really nice reminder right now when things feel particularly uncertain. Alrighty. And thanks for popping in, Lisa. I know that you missed the other ones, but it's fun to see the dice in action. Um, it's really funny that I'm using this side of the mat because I do not do past, present, future readings for anyone ever. So I was like, okay, today we're showing off the backside, and then maybe Monday I will get a printout of the new grids and I'll read on those so that everyone can see the way it all works. Oh, did you? That's so fun. So you see how the season's grid works. All right, a lot of you were talking. What's all going on here? I see volunteers for random readings. Love that. B&W never did shoot that in. Oh no, there it is. You just did it. I want to know what are the broader things I've gained and learned from getting into older movies. Oh wow, that's a fun question. That is a fun question. I appreciate that. Yeah, let's do that. And then a few people volunteered to get random readings, which I think sounds delightful. So we're gonna do B&Ws first. And then it looks like ashes and ink. SJ, who I believe is named Sen. I believe that was what I learned last night. And Laura is asking for academic reading. I think those are probably the ones we try to fit because now we've got about 40 minutes left. I know that a couple people asked for more, but knowing how long my readings tend to take, I'll try to keep it reasonable. All right. Sasha, that's totally fair. um, Color coded table of contents on it. I can do that. Not a problem. All right. B&W. What are the broader things I've gained and learned from getting into older movies? Okay. Um, what an interesting question. What we have attentions. We have kindness. I think that's important. We have major themes. Don't know that relations is. I feel like relations isn't related, but I'm gonna pull him in anyways because I have this feeling like he belongs. Um, I want to play around with fell and fuel. Probably not those, but we will do play. This is already a handful of dice. And we'll do elements. Okay. All right. Core to your question. We have the Queen of the Night from Fell's die. This is one of the Key Keeper's dice. And we have the Heart. That's such a yeah. How old are the older movies? B&W. If you tell us right now that you're 18 and you're watching movies from the 80s, we'll all cry. That would be really really wild. Uh, I guess older movies is different than old. Hmm. Now we're all curious. Um, Number one, I'm seeing that you're really gaining some knowledge about transients. 1920s to the 60s. Okay, that's reasonable. That's reasonable for older movies. I would call those older. That's good. Yeah, also, Alyssa, I hope that you have an easy and quick recovery as well. Thank you, Laura, for saying that because I totally read Alyssa's message about gallbladder surgery and I was like, that's nice, and just moved on. So yeah, the Queen of the Night here is a flower. It's a flower on a cactus, and it opens very, very shortly and temporarily. So it's about transience and respecting and loving the things that come and go quickly. And I think that that's a really beautiful lesson to learn. Number one, as a core lesson. I'm also seeing the heart here. It is pulled side to side, which means a number of things depending on what's nearby. But what I'm really seeing is that you're learning something really beautiful about the space of humanity and art and its ability to move and move away from itself. Um, the way that our hearts and emotions are kind of pulled apart. It's a really really lovely lesson. Number one in the core. I also have tin right here on the edge of the past. With context of your question, I think I have a really unique reading of this, but it's not necessarily what it always would mean. Tin is the wise man's metal. It's the metal that wants to be paired with something else to become better. Tin's not a particularly great metal on its own, at least in so far as like strength. But tied to the past, and especially because your question is about older movies and your relation to the past in a way, I'm really seeing that you're learning respect for an understanding of what has come before us as part of the ongoing human experience, the ongoing human experiment. And I think that's really great. There's a really important bit, especially for art. God, for art more than anything, to respect um, what has come before as an entire missing piece for what people are experiencing now. And that's something that I'm really seeing here. I'm also seeing other, which is really fascinating to me. So this is the relations die, and I almost didn't include it, but I'm really happy I did now because this face is other, and it usually is about when someone else is lording over you, coming from without and being out in the foundation here, and relating to your question in particular. This is such a multifaceted die face because typically it's like, oh, someone is floating over me and they're really just like um, making me feel watched and it's hard to do anything. But this is different, right? This is the past is now over your shoulders and looking past you. And you're like, wow, with the weight of the history of art, it almost makes you wonder, like, what's even happening now? Do people know about these past things? Do they understand what's come before? And that kind of weight, that understanding of human history in that way is just, it's so beautiful and crisp and delightful. And yeah, kind of overbearing. Um, Everything has been done before, sure, but it's not even that. It's that so many thoughts have been thought before that aren't being thought now in the same ways. And this is all really fun. I'm having fun in this reading. Thank you for a delightful, fun question. We have Fuel's die. Fuel is one of the key keepers, and we have tracking. In the present, you are currently tracking. I mean, that's literally the actions you're doing right now. You're looking at the breadcrumbs of our past through film, and you are seeing where it leads. And I think that that's really delightful. You're not just watching them to like broaden your horizons. There's actually like somewhere you're trying to get in doing this process. And I think that that is something that maybe you already knew, or maybe it's something you weren't aware of, but you're actually trying to find an answer in understanding these old films and experiencing this old art. On the edge of present and future is this gift, which is going to make me cry. It's really sweet. Um, what we make today is a gift for tomorrow, and what was made before is a gift for today. And I think that that's something you get to learn now is that when you're making art, you can't just think about who's going to have it today, who's going to have it next year, who's going to see it or experience it in 30 or 40 or 50 years. And what will they experience? What will they learn? And that's so exciting. Um, can you tell that I'm also just thinking about like art in general and what a lot of us here are artists, like what will our things do for someone someday in the future? Will it even be around? And isn't that beautiful? The transience of it. That's what we got. The Queen of the Night flower here. The transience of these films that you're watching is also the fact that so many other films came and went in those times and don't exist anymore. And that's the beauty, right? We have the lantern here. It looks like in the near future, you are really going to try to focus on sharing this with other people. The things that you've learned and the things that you have watched. That's delightful. And on the edge of the future here, we also have play for fun. It looks like whatever you're doing now, whatever answers you're looking to find now, are themselves kind of a transient experience. And when you get to the future here, you're actually experiencing this watching of these movies just for fun. You don't have to always find the deep meaning to them or what they mean for the human condition. You're going to start really rotating old movies into what you're watching regularly simply because it's as good and enjoyable as watching the movies that are coming out in theaters now. which you may already be doing, but right now you're also doing it trying to understand something about it, which is why you came here with this question in the first place. But here, you get to a point where that's not even necessarily the point anymore. And fated, we have the sword from the suits die being wielded by the dark sun, pointing at uh, water on the elements die, which is saying that misfortune, as it may come in the form of bad luck, basically, will always lead you to thinking about the breadth and depth of humans' storytelling and art and sharing and what culture we get to share together. And basically, what you're gaining is a reminder and a tool that you get to use to help you survive difficult spaces and hard times. I think that was a really fun reading because I got to think about art a lot. And a lot of people are asking about art, but I don't know, art's just so cool. I'm not biased. Oofda. Okay. Ashes and Ink wanted a random reading. SJ wanted a random reading. Laura wanted an academic reading. Let's see what we actually have time for. Let's try to do our best. A random reading. Okay. Then I'm just going to randomly pick dice. I'm not looking. I'm actually looking at the camera. I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking at the screen of my face. How many dice is that? We are at 8 dice. Cool. That's what we're rolling. All right, Ashes and Ink. Here comes your random dice. There's a major past. The major past has a lot going on over here. Escape and topple. Your recent past is heavily focused on needing to be away from the knowledge of how someone it's smack dab in the middle. I don't know if it's more someone else or you. Someone, you or another person to you, has really screwed someone else over. Kind of passed by them on their way up the ladder, so to speak. I don't know if you did it. I don't know if they did it. But there is a need in you to escape the feelings that come from it, which kind of give me idea that there is some element of guilt to it. The crown here is telling me that because leaning past, there's nothing directly on it. I'm assuming that the entire quarter of past here is actually really big. A lot of things that you're doing or thinking right now, especially as they relate to this person, maybe as they relate in general, are dealing heavily with, I think, this guilt of having kind of screwed someone else over to make things maybe a little better for you. Over here in the present, I see personal progress going on, which means that you're probably making a lot of personal change, and that is helping you to grow past whatever has happened in the past. In particular, that means that you, through the guilt, probably are focusing on making sure that you're really thoughtful towards other people. We have wound, stress. It is within and verging on the core. This stress, it seems like it's pretty central, and it's leading into the future. Even though there's a gift here, it looks like you're trying to make something right for yourself or another person, but it's not actually fixing the stress that's connected with it. The personal progress you're making is positive, and the gift could even be like, if you were the party wronged, it could be trying to like give yourself the gift of forgiveness to move on from that. Or if you did the wronging, trying to apologize and making it right with the other person. I don't know which, but it looks like neither necessarily solves the stress portion of it. It seems like it's something that really just sits on you. Over here, fuel in the future. This is the divine connection. But this is very within. It seems like the solution that you go for. Oh, yeah. I probably should have read this because it was in past as well. Okay. The direction you go for to try to solve this and help relieve the stress that you're dealing with is divine connection. This often means that like leaning into spiritual work is something you're really going to focus on. I don't know if it does anything. There's no answer. And that tells me that like the level of work that you do and what reasons you do it for are going to have a lot of the power in deciding whether or not it does anything. But over here, loyalties die. In between fated and past is to yourself. It was always maybe fated in some way that you'd be loyal to yourself through what happened in the past and what may yet happen in the future. Because it's kind of going over fated and past, I look over here and you can't quite see it, but it says history on the grid. And I really think that history for people is something that is deeply connected to you as like an innate part of your story. Just for something to be part of your history, it always has been true, and it is something that would be in your biography. It's like relevant. It affects the rest of what you do. And loyalty to self is not bad. Um, a lot of people would hear that and be like, "Oh, so you're like egotistical or you're self-centered." We need to be self-centered in some ways. If we can't take care of ourselves because we're too busy taking care of everyone else, that's not good. Being there for other people is only good until it isn't. The same way that being there for yourself is only good until it isn't. I would just be very mindful of whatever practices you go for to relieve yourself from stress and worry and concern, especially if it's PTSD related. I would really focus on making sure that it is something that helps you heal yourself, and specifically if other people are involved, especially if anything happened that maybe you did to other people, that they are also involved. Healing yourself is good, but then if you go back to them later and you're like, look, I got better, that doesn't actually do anything for them. So I don't know what this gift is, but it seems like you try to make things right, but maybe there's more work to be done than just what you're about to do. Okay, that was your random call out reading. Hopefully it was fun. Maybe we don't do call out readings. Maybe we don't read for the United States or do call out readings ever again. SJ, you said random reading. So this is what you wanted, my friend. SJ, are you still here? I should stop doing readings for people if they might not even be present. That would be really silly of me. SJ, you have 1 minute to respond. And if you don't, then I'll cry. I'll be so lonely. I'll cry. Laura, are you still here? You had a question about your academic path. Laura, okay. SJ, you're here. Cool. I don't know what dice I pulled. Here you go. Your core die here is the Alleyman's die with the alley face. You know exactly what the gift means, and damn, the dice know too much. That's always the thing, though, is like, I don't know. So sometimes I tell people things, and they're like, I know exactly what that is. I'm like, I don't know what it means. I'm glad you do. So we have the alleyway. The alleyway here is usually talking about a space where forgotten things gather. You may either be or feel like you are a forgotten thing in some way. Laura, it's great you're here. I'll do your reading next. So yeah, you feel like maybe you're left over in some way. Over here in the past, we have, I cannot read that, injustice. It's a long word to be written so tiny. Injustice on the redacted die. In the past, something happened that was really unfair, maybe even literally criminally unfair, is usually how I think about it. And it is something that has been generally looked over, glossed over. People aren't recognizing it. And I would say that that's hugely related to why you feel like you were left behind. Maybe no one was on your side. No one was there to actually help or support or defend you through something that happened that just criminally was not okay. We have radiation from the toxicity die in the present, that usually says that anything here is really, really bad and is not good. It has no dice next to it, which is telling me more that the current situation, the present in relation to this injustice, is just not good. It feels like no one wants to be around. It feels like no one's willing to be there for you. And again, that's why you feel potentially left behind. Hello, Mystic Star. Thank you. And I'm excited for you to get your dice as well. Over here at the end of present here, we have the compass. It is telling me that you're heading in a direction soon that is planned out and plotted to hopefully get through or past this. Because we have the Summer's Fist at the top here, bridging future and present, it looks to me like you're ready to fight. You are not going to let this go down and never be heard of or be understood. You are going to stand up and make the hard effort to be heard. So that is what the compass is about. It's about making the plan to get this recognized and not have it swept under the rug anymore. You would like to not be in the alley alone, at least. In the future, way over here, we do have focus. It looks like there is the ability in the future. It is like the God, what's my words? The near future, but we're near the end, heading towards faded, that you do get people from the outside to look. Whatever it is, whatever your situation is, you will get people's attention, and it leads to Weir, Ceiling, and the Spotlight. Yeah, this is the most straightforward path reading I've ever done. You need people to see. It will take a little bit, but you will get their attention. You will finally put a seal on this event in your life, and you will have the spotlight to be heard. This is just the inevitability of it. Whatever has been done to you, you will have understood, and people will be there. What the outcome is, that's hard to say. I don't know what the injustice is. I don't know what comes that, but it is sealed, which does suggest to me that you choose to put an end cap on it. You believe it's dealt with in a way that works. So it looks like whatever it is, my friend, you take care of it. All right, Laura, you have an academic path reading. I will pick the dice this time because you actually asked for a particular thing. So let's give you a particular thing. Let's alchemize. Let's make a path. Let's build. I can't believe that I haven't been reading with my core like seasons dice anymore. I feel like a changed person. Normally I always start with my 4 seasons dice and then add dice, but I just keep grabbing things. So being freeform. Whoop. We have a lost die. Ooh, and it's lead. So this one fell off the grid. That means it's a lost die. It is not directly part of the reading, but it will come back. And we have another one that's kind of outside of view. That's way up there. I'll move down so you can see. All right. Laura, my dear friend. Laura K, because there were 2 Lauras. Laura Norman and Laura K. We have the sheep here. And we have a cheat sheet. I just like to read it out loud. It's fun. Sheep is the resource that gives us personal shelter, clothing, and cloth, but we only gain this when we care for others. Our work to support, sustain, and raise up others will come back to us in material and immaterial ways. I am going to read this because it is upside down and the poor sheep is on its back. It's really beneficial when people work in tandem with others. What I'm reading here is that you may be the sheep in this situation, and you are kind of relying on other people to be supportive of you through your academic journey, maybe. This could be teachers, TAs, advisors, other students, roommates, family. I'm not sure who it is, but you are in a position where you kind of needed support and sustenance, and it doesn't feel like that's necessarily being met. Over here in the past, I do have the egg, which is right on the edge of present, which tells me that you feel like you are in the egg state of things right now. Your academic journey is still nascent. Is that even the word I want? I think so. It's still kind of starting and sleeping and resting and growing. You're not ready to hatch yet, is maybe what's going on. But this was the past leading directly to the present. So even though you may not be quite ready to hatch, it looks like you are looking too soon. And I don't see that happening just yet. This is a lost die. It was lost, meaning it rolled off the mat, and the area it was lost in was the foundation. And that, to me, means that this is something that's coming around and maybe even haunting kind of the present at the moment. This is lead. Lead in alchemy, because of the alchemist die. Lead is the poisonous thing that you try to turn into gold. Lead is quite a problem because if you don't do a ton of labor to turn it into gold through alchemy, you just have poison. And the longer you hold the poison, the worse poison is, right? So when I think about lead, I usually try to think about the idea that you have something right now that's poisonous. Are you going to put in the labor and work to turn it into gold? If not, you have to let go of it now, or it's just going to get worse. Because this was lost, I have this feeling that you don't necessarily have control over whether or not you get to let go of the lead. You're kind of locked into your academic journey until you bring it to fruition. And even if you want to stop right now, you really can't, even though you may not be feeling like you're supported. This is the hardship space, right? Where you just have to really weather the storm and keep going. The egg will hatch eventually, the lead will return, and then you'll have a new choice on whether or not it's become gold or whether it's time to let go. But you just don't have a choice right now. So stay in. Over here, we have the heart. This is in within. This is a lot of how you're feeling about what's going to be happening in the near future. The bigger heart is kind of on top, pulling up. I'm going to say that you're going to feel pretty good about how things come down at the end. I have passing over here. This is the skull face on the autumn die, which deals with things ending and new things having chances to begin. Based on what I'm reading, I'm kind of getting the idea that you're actually near the end of your academic journey. Please tell me if that's true. And it leads somewhere else, because if not, then what I'm seeing is your academic journey might end prematurely for a different journey, which either could be a different academic journey, which is still fine, or it could just be a different one altogether. It could be that when you come to the point where you actually have choices again and what you want to do, you may choose that this isn't for you. Way out here in momentum, which you can't see, but momentum means how the present leads to the future. We have the 6. The 6 is kind of a weird one because I was reading it as misfortune, but I know a lot of people might choose to instead read it as other things. But what I read the 6 as is 3 splitting apart, and 3 is like a really, really generally good number to me. So 6, as I read, is generally being not as good. It seems like there's kind of this poisoned momentum going on outside of you that you don't have a say in. That might be the academic structure, it could be politics, it could be family, it could be happening, what's going on with your school, I don't know. But it's just kind of going in a rough, difficult way. And because of how it is affecting everything, it looks like when you do get a choice, you make a choice that pushes you in a new direction. I feel like it's a good thing so far. Even though it sounds like there's a bunch of negative stuff, I do feel like when you have the agency to make choice, it is something that you're really relieved to do. In Faded, I am seeing on the relations die isolation, where you feel like you really are kind of alone in making your choice, but not even alone like only I can do this. It's like literally only I can. No one else can assist me. And I think this is kind of a lesson learned from waiting for other people to be present for you in ways that maybe they said they would be, but then they weren't in the core. This kind of isolation might be beneficial for what your goals and academic journey are. This was actually way up here in the Beyond. It was still on the mat, though. This is the bow and arrow from the fantasy die. The bow and arrow is a warning that some things you're going to be coming up against that you cannot directly face yet. It's going to be better if you deal with it from afar. This usually means that there are details or specifics to a situation that are overwhelming or frustrating in a really negative way, that you aren't ready to really deal with, but you can still interact with it as long as you aren't getting too close to the details. I think this is a big part of what isolation is. You're going to be making decisions that might even affect other people, but you have to do it from isolation. And over here we have wind on the elements die. And wind is telling me that things can be fickle and quickly changing. The situations that you're going to be dealing with on your academic journey are things that come and go rapidly. And because you have so little control over what seems to be the most negative parts, like the lead and the 6 here, it looks to me like it's probably best for you to like keep a level head, watch what's going on, make decisions that are best for you, because you can't necessarily rely on other people for this academic journey. And that's actually the whole reading. There's no other advice to it. Other people really should be doing some more work for you, but they aren't. And as a result, you just kind of have to make some big choices on your own. And that's good and hopefully empowering, because you should have control and say over what it looks like. Whew. What a whole thing. I have done so many readings already. Goodness gracious. We have approximately 12 minutes left at the time I say this. I know some of you are behind on the live stream, so I say things and 3 minutes later someone's like, oh, that. And I'm like, oh, yes, of course. We all have our own personal experience with time during a live stream. Goodness gracious. Does anyone have any last thoughts or questions? Probably about the Oracle dice themselves or the project. I can fit a really tiny reading in maybe, but that's probably about all I've got time for. At the moment, we are at $58,925, so we are just under 60,000. I think that there's a really good chance that we reach our funding goal today, but it is a little slower than I expected. I thought that we'd be over 100 on day one, which is mostly just a matter of the current economic and political situation for a lot of people. I know a lot of people are saying in the comments on like my ads and stuff like, oh, this is so cool, I don't have the money for it right now, I can't wait to get it later. And I'm like, oh, you might want to try to get it now anyways, because we may not have a ton of extras made. Of course. Yeah, thanks for being here, y'all. I really do appreciate having folks come in and hang out through the live stream. I appreciate all the questions. I like giving some answers. Answers are good. I will be streaming again later today in 4 hours. Ostina, is there flex pay available? Hi, Rita. We're wrapping up and we have about 10 minutes. If you have a small question, I'd be happy to do a small reading for you, but it would have to be like 5 minutes or less. So if you have a question, Rita, shoot me a question and I'll try to do a quick one for you. We do have past, present, and future grid out today, so a question that works with that would be best. Yeah, I'm trying to do a bunch of reading live streams just to promote, but also to show people how it works. I think that it's worthwhile. There's a huge tarot project happening on Kickbacker. I'm assuming you mean Kickstarter. Huh, interesting. Ostina, will there be flex pay? Frankly, there already should be. And I'm like, did I not turn that on? Let me see. The problem with the flex pay thing is it's hard to figure out where it is. Okay, there we go. Pay over time is now enabled on this project, so people can back it even if it is for a large amount of money and they want to pay it over time. Alyssa, I don't remember which dice came with the Alley Man. Oh no, you're cool, Curse. Um, Alyssa, no dice came with the Alley Man's Tarot. Do you mean the Alleyway Oracles, like the sequel project? There were three dice that came in a bag. That's these ones. If you got three dice in a little bag, these came with the Alleyway Oracles as one of the add-on things, but the Alleyman's Tarot didn't come with dice. You may have bought Oracle dice during the Alleyman's Tarot project, but I don't think that's true either. I don't think that was available. What about a quick 2 to 3 dice on what we should all focus on today? I like that. I'm gonna do a neat little keykeeper roll on what we should focus on today. We've got 8 minutes left. Let's have a look. There are things coming our way. I'm gonna loose read this for everyone. Tells Breeze is here telling us that there's a breeze coming, that we can open our sails and just kind of ride the wave. We don't need to worry too hard about rowing ourselves for the day. Things are available to push us along. I also see sealing. I see that some people might be experiencing sealing moments where they are finally putting to rest maybe long-term things that have been a problem. I also think of sealing as an important moment of maybe building barriers for yourself. So be open to the energies that are coming today, and maybe be ready to put some things to rest that you've been thinking about for a while. We have Mal's Iris and Wound's Foxglove. We got a couple flowers out here. This is in the past, so I'm going to loose read these together. Think about things that have happened in your recent past that have really been frustrating for you, that have been poisonous, and start letting go of those things a little bit. This is the sealing, right? Start putting a seal on things that you've been holding on to for a while. Because if you spend a lot of time with foxglove and you use too much, it's poisonous. If you use a little bit, it's medicinal. If you begin to put something to bed that you've had weighing on your mind a lot, you will be able to find some relief from what it's been doing to you. We have fuel pathfinding for the present. There are breadcrumbs leading you into the future, right? We have the breeze coming right now. There's a wave that you can ride for the day. So start looking out for the clues of what's coming around the corner. And what is coming around the corner? We have release. That's really nice. Things that have been weighing on your mind lately, it's time to put the stamping seal on it, let that go. And if you follow the breadcrumbs of like all the energy it's moving through you for the day, you're heading towards release. You're heading to the point where you can just fully let it go. And the faded die here is Deep Night. Deep Night is a face on Sin's die. And Deep Night is a space for you to be utterly alone and think about things in a way that's kind of dissociated from the rest of the world. When you get to release things, which could be kind of an active, ongoing process, you're going to have the lovely experience maybe of laying up late one of these nights and thinking about all the things that you have finally let go, which is really lovely. So it looks like today is a great day to go with the flow and start to let go of something that's really been bugging you. You're going to find clues that lead you there, maybe today, tomorrow, the next day. Little things that help you remember that this stuff isn't as important as maybe it seems. That's our fun little day read, right? I think that's nice. Yeah, Alyssa, you got the 3 dice from the Alleyway Oracles. They're the Game Takers dice that are in the Keykeeper set. Ostina, can the stone dices, and even better, the stone be added on the add-ons? Ostina, those are already in the add-ons. You can already get the stone dice in all three pledge options as add-ons. Yeah. Well, all right. We have like a whole 4 minutes left. Um, so things to note, my friends. The Oracle dice are live right now on BackerKit. I imagine that most of you have already backed because that's where most of you came from. But if you haven't, it's there. Also, I just enabled pay over time. So if you would like to get a really large pledge that you were hesitant about doing because you couldn't do it all at once, you could now do that. So if you wanted perhaps the stone dice, for example, you can now do that. Yeah, Astina, let me just scroll and make sure I'm not on drugs. Yep, add-ons. Stone Goblins dice set, Stone Seasons, and Stone Keykeepers. They are there. I know the add-ons list is a little long, so it's easy to get a little lost in it. But thank you, everyone, for being here. And thanks for popping in, Lisa. I'm really looking forward to our interview tomorrow. I think that that will be a lovely time. All right, all. Well, I hope you have a lovely day. I'll be on again in 4 hours to do another 2-hour live stream for the evening crowd. So if you happen to come back around, you can always have more readings as long as time permits. All right, y'all. Have a lovely